Hello. In this video, I'll talk about sugar, why sugar may be the new tobacco, and too much sugar leads to insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. We all know that sugar is found in chocolates, sodas, and candies, but did you know that it's also in yogurt, ready-made meals, potatoes, chips, marinades, ketchups, and mayonnaise, among many other food products? In fact, sugar has gone from being a luxury item reserved for the elites of the world to becoming a staple in most diets, whether we want it to be or not. So how did we get to this point, and what were the implications for our health? Let's look at how sugar conquered the world and how it's come to influence so much of our lives. From its humble origins on the Pacific Islands to its current position at the heart of a shrewd and lucrative industry, sugar has come to influence our lives and health in a way most of us fail to perceive. There was a time when sugar wasn't an additive in majority of our processed foods. The history of sugar can be traced back thousands of years to the island of New Guinea and its native people, who were the first one to plant sugarcane for cultivation. For a long time, harvesting sugarcane was the only way to produce sugar, but this eventually became a costly burden. The sugar plant grows only in tropics, and it was complicated and expensive to transport it to the rest of the world. So before other methods of producing sugar were developed, the cost and labor of sugar production made it an ingredient that only rich people could afford. It was such a luxurious status symbol that it was included along with pearls and other treasures in the gifts that the King of Spain would habitually receive. But it was only a matter of time before sugar was to develop cheap and widely available options, and this was primarily due to the plant now known as sugar beet. Sugar beet can be grown just about anywhere, and once a process was developed to extract beet sugar, the ingredient became a whole lot easier to come by. Then came steam engine, which brought on the Industrial Revolution. As a result, a refinery in the 1920s could produce the same amount of sugar in a day that used to take a decade to produce in the 1820s. It was this cheap, refined sugar that eventually made it possible for companies to produce junk food found in supermarkets today. In the early 19th century, people primarily used sugar to sweeten tea, coffee, and other hot beverages. But with the new method of refining sugar, sweet foods like candy, ice cream, chocolate bars, and soft drinks could mass produced at a low cost. Plus, previously, sugar-free foods like bread could now also be sweetened with sugar. One of the most revolutionary sugary products was Coca-Cola, which was invented in 1885 by John Pemberton, who originally promoted the drink as a brain tonic. It wasn't until years later, when Asa Candler added more sugar and turned it into a soda, that it became the world's most popular soft drink. There are different kinds of calories, and calories from sugar are among the worst for your health. Maybe you have heard the phrase, a calorie is a calorie, and assumed that 5 calories from sugar are the same as 5 calories from apple. But this couldn't be far from truth. Like any science, nutritional science wasn't always as exact or sophisticated as it is now. And for a long time, we have lived under two common misconceptions. One is that all calories are equal, and the other is that our calorie intake is primarily cause of unhealthy weight gain. For the sugar industry, this was great news. They could freely promote sugar by suggesting that 3 teaspoons of sugar had fewer calories than an apple, but modern day nutritional science shows that not only calories are same, regardless of what the sugar industry might say. More accurate theories on nutrition emerged in 1960s when the new technology allowed us to measure hormones in the bloodstream. Scientists could now see that most of our hormones are hard at work extracting energy from our stored fat cells. However, they noticed one hormone that actually performed the opposite function was insulin. Our bodies produce insulin when our blood sugar, also referred to as blood glucose, level rises, and body stores fat cells instead of turning them into energy. Things only go back to normal once our blood sugar and insulin drop to their usual levels. So, what causes high blood sugar levels, rising insulin levels, and increase in fat storage? Eating meals that are high in carbohydrates, that is, especially sugar. Therefore, all calories are not created equal. Despite this evidence, the sugar industry has stayed on the message and continues to push the low-calorie theory, and their persistence has been surprisingly effective, even convincing some scientists. A 2015 article in New York Times even showed that many scientists still consider a calorie surplus to be the main cause of obesity. The sugar industry has been hard at work protecting its image and fighting competition. Has anyone ever told you that you need to add more sugar to your diet? It sounds pretty unlikely, right? But this is what exactly sugar industry was promoting in 1928 when they created a sugar institute as a part of their campaign to increase the demand for sugar. They did this through an ad campaign that actually promoted sugar as a health food. In their estimation, sugar was full of benefits. In summer, it refreshed the body. In winter, it provided a boost to your immune system. And in autumn, it was good for avoiding afternoon fatigue. The 1950s was a period in which the obesity rate in the United States began to increase and different dieting trends began to emerge. This was also when the sugar industry turned to the calorie is a calorie theory and suggested that other foods be cut from one's diet but not sugar. But a different kind of campaign was launched in 1960s when general public as well as manufacturers of the sweet products like diet sodas began turning to artificial sweeteners as a healthier alternative to sugar. There was no debating that artificial sugars like saccharin and cyclamate had fewer calories, so the sugar industry tried a different approach to this threat by trying to get the Food and Drug Administration, that is FDA, to ban them. The FDA had a major influence on the food industry in the United States through its approval system of giving certain food GRAS status, which stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. In 1958, Food and Drugs Act was amended to state that no additive could be deemed safe if it was found to induce cancer when ingested by man or animal. So between 1963 and 1969, the sugar industry spent over $4 million on the studies to remove GRAS status for cyclamate. By the end of the campaign of testing artificial sweeteners on rats, they did succeed in getting cyclamate banned. It was considered to be possibly carcinogenic, though you would need to drink 550 cans of diet soda every day in order to equal the dosage levels given to the rats. The sugar industry has spread lies about the dangers of other foods. You may have come across popular assertion that saturated fat causes heart diseases. However, the truth is not as simple as the basic question, which might even be entirely false. So where do rumors like this come from? In this case, the scientist Ancel Keys was the one who popularized the link between eating fatty foods and getting heart diseases. During the 20th century, heart disease was on the rise and everyone was looking for a simple explanation, so Keys' theory was readily accepted. But if we look closely, we can still see Keys had a conflict of interest. His research was sponsored by the sugar industry. Not only that, he was the inventor of K-rations, the food packets used by military, which were also full of sugar. Needless to say, sugar industry was eager to spread the news of finding as additional evidence that sugar isn't bad for you. They were largely successful in their propaganda, and fat was seen as number one enemy in the world of food through the 1970s. By the 80s, any scientist who so much as hinted that sugar was the real cause of heart disease ran the risk of being called out as a quack by the agents of sugar industry. Yet the evidence was becoming ever clearer that sugar is the real culprit. During 20th century, heart disease steadily increased in Western nations alongside obesity, diabetes and high blood pressure. For some scientists, it was clear that this was not a coincidence, that these diseases were somehow related and there was something linking them to prosperous nations where this was happening. When they looked at the changes that had been made to typical diets and food in these countries, the answer was clear, that is, sugar. There was also evidence to suggest that fat is not so bad. Certain cultures, such as Inuit people of Alaska and the Maasai in Africa, have been eating a high-fat diet for generations and live long and healthy lives. Disease only began to show in these communities when sugar-rich food was introduced. Too much sugar leads to insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. When it comes to linking a disease to sugar, perhaps the strongest association is with diabetes, specifically in terms of how sugar causes your body to develop a resistance to insulin. As discussed, insulin is a hormone that is released when your body sugar rises. When it's active, it stores fat, but it also reduces your blood sugar. So when you eat something sweet, the glucose in the food raises your blood sugar levels. To help your body keep your sugar level in the healthy range, your pancreas will release insulin to either use the glucose as fuel or to store it as fat. And when blood sugar level normalizes, energy will again come from your stored fat. When your body becomes insulin resistant, this means that the hormone can no longer store or use glucose in your bloodstream because the cells have become resistant. This can lead to a vicious cycle since to lower your blood sugar levels, you need to introduce more insulin in your body. It may never be possible to prove this with absolute certainty, but it is very likely that sugar is the cause of this resistance. In a controlled study at Stanford University, rats developed insulin resistance and after being fed fructose or fruit-based sugar. Again, this would appear to prove that all calories are not same, since 100 calories of sugar will provide different results than 100 calories of fat or protein, especially in terms of insulin resistance. Another result of insulin resistance is metabolic syndrome, which is usually a precursor to diabetes or heart disease. The first symptoms of metabolic syndrome is an expanding waistline, but it is due to combination of several conditions such as obesity, high blood pressure and inflammation coming together. And all these factors can be traced back to having too much sugar in your diet. There is a strong case to be made that sugar is principally underlying cause of many of the diseases currently plaguing Western nations. This is primarily due to the way sugar causes insulin resistance, which multiple studies have identified as a precursor to many other diseases. This is not a new discovery either, as doctors have warned against the consumption of too much sugar for years. Nevertheless, the sugar industry is a powerful voice that has worked for decades to silence the truth. In case you are more interested in reading about all these topics, there is a beautiful book by Kerry Tops, The Case Against Sugar, which I recommend that you must read. Thank you.